My name is Mackenzie Zak. I've been in the industry since 2016. I started as a counselor at our agency, which is called You Study Global. Um, Over the years, I kind of grew up in the organization, and now I am the co-founder and COO of You Study Global's platform, which is called applywave. I guess the simple way to explain it is we're a marketplace. We have students on one side, institutions on the other, and then in the middle are, in other industries, what could be called brokers. So agents, counselors, anyone who assists in that process of getting a student from point A to point B. Remember, we started as an agency. So that was the foundation of creating Applywave. It was based on our problems as a growing agent that had students from all over the world who wanted to start, wanted our help. And we had all these institutions who also loved what we did and wanted to partner with us. Which sounds like a great situation, right? Students, schools, we're an agent, we have everything we need. But with us and our organization, internally we just didn't have the tools we needed to properly connect the two. And for us, it's always been about the matchmaking. It's always been about making sure the student ends up in the best place for them, regardless of commission, regardless of who our friend is in the industry. It's all about the student. So when we started that growth in our organization and we were searching for these tools, we kind of discovered that there really wasn't something at that time that was truly from the perspective of an agent. So first we started with that. What are our problems? What do we need to do our job better? Of course, the key element of that is the student. What are their problems? What are the questions they have? How can we address those and make it easy for them to choose an option without feeling like an agent is telling them you should go here, And then on the other side are our partner schools. What do they need? What types of students are they looking for? Do they need diversity? Do they need volume? So we kind of tackled those three parts. And initially it was just for our agency, our students in our schools. And then after we launched and once we kind of saw how things were moving, we decided to invite a small number of agents who align with us to join the platform as well. So everything's just kind of been growing from there. It is confusing, and we understand kind of the situation that agents and schools and everyone's in, just kind of what should we be doing? Where should we be? What platform should we be on? And I think something that's important to keep in mind, I know it can be very overwhelming and it can feel kind of like, in some cases, oh, what's happening with our industry? But I think all of us, what we're doing, we're trying to solve problems, and I think each of us from our different companies, we've solved the problems that we've experienced and that we've seen our partners experience. And so, again, it can be overwhelming to think about the tech, but, at least here on this stage, we know that, we're really trying to solve the problems that all of you have. And that looks different for each of us as well, what types of problems we tackle. And I think that's why this is so important to have this collaboration and have these conversations. So you all have a starting point of, okay, maybe I didn't think about that before. Maybe that could be helpful with my institution or with my agency or with my students. Because you're right, it's all about that transparency. And us in our platform, we don't own the schools. We have agent agreements with them, we're partnered with them. And that's one of the challenges that I think many platforms who don't own the institutions face. The topic is integration and, everything being streamlined and connected. And that sounds great, but you really can't control that unless you own the institution. On our side, one of the challenges that we face and that we hope we can come together to find a solution is you can't have integration without collaboration. So with all these institutions that work with us, of course, in a perfect world, everything would be streamlined into their system, everything would be automatic. But there's so many challenges that these institutions face, and maybe the person who's involved in the international admissions wants to make it happen, but they have to go through legal, they have to get IT involved, all the bureaucracy. And those are big challenges that we face in this sector because it's, when we talk about the technology with institutions, it goes beyond just this little department of international student recruitment. So that's something I think we all need to think about, in terms of that flow and ease of access and quick response time. How can we work together to make that happen? Because as Kayla mentioned, that's what it all comes down to. And I think that's why what you guys are doing is so great, is because you get those answers right away. You know what's going on. We've tried to find ways to make our agents and students also have that transparency, know what's happening with their admissions process, know what the schools are thinking about, know what's missing. But in all honesty, we can only do what the school collaborates with us on. So for us, data is an interesting topic, and we try to use it in different ways. You know, one thing with our partner schools, for example, again, we can only control the data that's within our system because, like you mentioned, there's so many things out there and it's fragmented. With us, we try to give insights about, views, where students are coming from, information and tools to give schools a starting point to work on their strategy and know where to use their time. And it's one of those things that it is a challenge because we're not all
Yeah.
doing the same thing. And also all of our partners need something different. Everyone's going to use that data in a different way. And I think what it comes down to, even with technology and all of us sitting up here, we know this is a people business. It's all about the connections you make. And even with the tech, you have to have those continuous conversations. That's the point that we're at in this industry because there is so much change and there is so much development with this. And it's going to be really interesting to see how things kind of level out and things become a little bit more standardized, which I think that's kind of the goal we all want, for everyone involved. One of the challenges that we've tried to overcome with that transparency, being focused on higher ed, I mean, it is similar with language where you don't know if everyone's giving the correct information to the students. The students don't always know where to find the correct information. For us, it's really important, especially with like costs, scholarships, the financial opportunities, being so open about it. On applywave, anyone can go into applywave. You don't need an account and you can see the schools, you can see the tuition, you can see the scholarships available, because we feel like that transparency on whatever way we all do that, it also leads to accountability. When things are transparent and people can access that transparent information, it holds us all to a certain, level of understanding. You can't add on your commission because then the student can go in and see it and be like, well, why are you charging me $1,000 more than what I see right there? I think that's one of the big benefits of this tech boom in our industry is really we're all trying to get to that point where the information that the students see and all the stakeholders see is the same, so there isn't that guessing of, oh, should I book with you, should I book with you, should I book with you? Our students have their own dashboard where they can log in and see in real time what's going on. That student dashboard, whether it's a direct student or if it's from one of our agent partners, because we're about 50-50 between direct students who are coming on applywave and going through the whole process with us, or students who are sourced from our agent partners. But that student account is linked to the school account that they're applying to. So there's that direct flow of communication between both sides. With our agent partners, if they're involved with the student, theirs is right in the middle. They can see not only what their students are doing and access that information, go in and check the documents, go in and help filling out the details. Students can do it themselves too. But then on the third side, all of that links back through the school. Our challenge is being able to know what the school's doing and communicating that on the other side. One of the ways we try to do that, though, is just with the benchmarks we can control as that agent. I say agent because that's what we are, even with the tech. As that agent in the middle, we can only communicate what our partners communicate to us, what the schools tell us. So we try to give indicators like, visuals of when the application is being processed by the school, so they're aware, they can communicate to the student. When an offer has been issued, it's uploaded right there for the agent, the school, and the student to see. All of those parties we try to bring together, just because that's what it all comes down to.